who is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to separate from him, and that is where they now came into agreement to bring Raila Amolo Odinga, whereby they took on and they started the handshake. And I want to ask Mr. Sam, do you think
Yes.
again we can have a handshake when it comes to this government, considering that we have William Ruto, Raila Amolo Odinga, and Rigathi Gachagua? Can we have handshake? Do you think it is possible to have handshake in this government?
So let me ask you, what is a handshake? You know, a handshake that happened in 2018 between the then Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga. It's only that they came open and said, like, we have chosen now to work together. We already have handshake. The handshake came long time ago. It's not a must that they go and shake hands and start saying that we have a handshake. The handshake is all. The main thing about the handshake is agreeing to work together. Yeah. So now the president has agreed to work together with Honorable Raila Odinga to clean the AU commissioners chair. I think that's already a handshake, though it is very indirect. They haven't come clear and said it's a handshake. So people should understand that the nature of our Kenyan politics is just ideology. If you agree with ideologies, you work together. If you don't agree, you become enemies for circumstances. That's why we don't have permanent enmity in politics or permanent friendship, as Honorable Vincent said. Circumstances bring politicians together. Interest bring politicians together. So for me, I think we already have a handshake. Ni ile tu haijakuwa very open. If I waseme like this is the handshake that we are having. Uhuru Kenyatta, Raila Odinga, and the president William Samoei Ruto, they know what they are doing, and that is what we have in politics. Ni kujipanga. Hawa watu wameona Ruto anaona 2027, hao wengine sijui chenye wanaona, because I don't know about their interests. So there is a handshake, it is in place. The only thing is haijakuwa open.
Yeah, that is some. We think there is a handshake, although it has not been in real life. But again, we know that Kenyans believe in physical things. They don't believe in those things that are hidden. You know, it will take Kenyans a lot of years. Kenyans will take a lot of
let
time
me
to understand what is
let me agree
an
with some part.
handshake.
Let me agree with some. Handshakes happen, and we know the only difference is the name that they are given. We remember how the Moi handshake with Raila it was called I don't know, a union or something like that. With Kibaki, we know what happened, and now we had the 2018 handshake. So right now we have that form of handshake, that we have a smart president who does not want, and he doesn't want anybody to lose. He doesn't want anybody to gain. So right now he's trying to manage the politics and the economy of the country. So he's trying to manage the problem that we have in country of cold politics. And if you can figure out, and if you can look back and see the problem that we've had as a country, we've had a problem of politics in this country. After the election, there is always chaos and chaos and chaos. And William Ruto has unlocked a method of trying to manage and cool down the politics. In fact, if you are watching today the Senate and the National Assembly, they were debating the NADCO report, and that NADCO report is a result of what I can call the handshake between the president and the handshake and the president, the Raila and the president. I think
So
I have clarified that.
Vinny,
Yeah, you can hold on, Mr. Sam. I will give you time so that you can give your ideas. But
yes.
it's like we have the handshake, but the Kenyans want to see it in real life situation, that where it's like they want to see it in Kasarani. You want to see it like in Nyayo National Stadium when those two guys are giving hands. So that is what Kenyans want to see. But again, as I bring on board some here, I want to always say that this is Afrique 24 TV, whereby we always give you ideas and we also make you get educated when it comes to politics in every dimension, because in every Monday to Sunday we always have a show that takes place at 10 p.m. that is East African time, wherever you're watching, either in USA, either in UK, United Kingdom, either in South Africa, either in East Africa. This is Afrique 24, and again we always make sure that you get educated and you get to align with what is happening in terms of political matters. And here we give also you share your ideas and comments where we read them on air, and we also share to the other followers, because we have a lot of followers who are making headlines every day and day. So here is a freak to four, and I want to bring on board what you always do, as I give some meander few minutes to always cut across what Honorable Vincent has said.
So thank you for the time. So what I was saying, and I want to echo what Vina said, when we had the first handshake of Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta and Raila Odinga, we had the BBI. So now we have the report, the National Dialogue report that was being discussed in both houses. And you can agree with me, Raila Odinga agrees with the report, and the president agrees with the report. So which, if Kenyans are waiting for them to go to Uhuru Park and start telling people of a handshake, I think they will wait. But already we have the handshake, my brother. So the handshake is in place. If what tells you that there's a handshake, it's because they have come together to work together. And you will be surprised one of the fine days you find these people in one political rally. So we will have to see, we'll be surprised to see them in one political rally and trying to tell us about the report if at all it works. So there's a handshake in place, and people should understand that where we are heading, politicians are people who align themselves. They take power, they know how to position themselves. These are people you can see them calling themselves names, yule mzee, yule mwizi. These are the same people who are calling each other names. Tuliona huyu like 2013, 2013-17. Uhuru was calling Raila yule mzee wa kitendawili, sijui kimundu kimongoroki. You remember? 2022 they were together. Ruto was calling Raila Odinga mzee wa vitendawili, but you are seeing them working together here. Raila was calling Ruto mwizi. Mwizi wa mashamba, mwizi sijui wa nini. They are working together. Raila was calling Uhuru ule mtu wa kufuta bangi, yule mlevi, but they are working together. So let Kenyans understand that we have a political nature, that we don't have any enmity. Anything can happen at any time, and those who suffer, we are us. We are the ones who are left. Now we don't know where, maybe you are Azimio Dam, you are a UDA Dam. Now when these people are doing, sasa nyinyi mnakuja kuambiwa this thing happen. Yes.
So thank you so much. So it's like we have this handshake, and they are ready to work together. So again, the big question is, because we had Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua saying that here now we are not ready to involve mzee wa kitendawili. He always calls him mzee wa kitendawili. They are not ready even to involve him in this situation. So what is the position of Rigathi Gachagua then, if we are going to have this handshake? Because we know that Rigathi Gachagua is like, with Raila Amolo Odinga, it's like water and cooking oil.
Let me tell you, we have seen from the 2018 handshake, Ruto was sidelined. It is the same thing that is going to happen. They cannot work together. Are you seeing? So the person the victim of this circumstance will be Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Number one, he has not been formally, he's not that strong kingpin of Central Kenya, we can say, and that is a fact. He is not yet the kingpin, maybe the person who gives direction in the mountain. So he has problems, and here we are having a handshake. So I think the political journey of Honorable Rigathi Gachagua, it's kind of in limbo. Are you seeing? So Rigathi Gachagua has learned from the previous handshake we had, whereby Ruto was sidelined. So that is the effect. If we have a clear handshake and these people come together and start working, because Rigathi Gachagua, we feel like Raila has come to take his position. He has come just to take his position. You know, politics are marriage. We had a marriage between Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua. Now we are having a third party who is Raila Odinga. So it means anytime these people we have a third party in marriage, so there will be chaos. And definitely that is the thing that we are expecting. At all, if there's somebody who is not sleeping well, who thinks about Raila Odinga day and night, it is our deputy president, because he knows the effects of that handshake if these people come together to work together.
Thank you so much. I
Maybe,
get you. I get
maybe
you, Mr. Sam, and wonderful for these ideas that you have shared with us. As we go to the next chapter, I always say that
no.
this is
Let
Africa
me.
24.
I mean, I've not commented on that. I think you had a very nice question, and as a defender of the government, of the KK government, let me at least differ with Sam on this one. As I said before, there is no enmity between Rigathi Gachagua and Raila Odinga right now, because I told you William Ruto schemed the handshake in a way that nobody is going to gain, nobody is going to lose. I think in that for that we are in order. So if Rigathi Gachagua is feeling sidelined, that is his own thoughts. But I think from where I sit and my in my opinion, if Rigathi is thinking about Raila running again in 2032 so that he blocks his candidature, then Rigathi is chasing is chasing his own shadow. He should stop and calm down and try to behave as a leader, and that's how the Kikuyus will embrace him. And we have talked about these things several times with you, Boniface. I want to say that I don't see that there is an enmity between the deputy president and the president, and I don't think Rigathi has a reason to worry or as a reason to feel like he's being sidelined. So this handshake, as I said before, is there to benefit both sides. Rigathi is a very, very big beneficiary of this handshake, because the moment Raila Odinga is out of the picture, and I told you before, the Mount Kenya is going to lack that narrative of saying sisi hatuwezi pigia Raila kura. No, no. There are people who usually wake up to vote for for a candidate that opposes Raila Odinga for years. So I think this is a good lesson that is going to be a new narrative to the Mount Kenya people, that this time around you're going to vote for policies, not for a candidate that is opposing Raila Odinga. So this handshake
Exactly.
is a benefit. This handshake is a benefit to the mountain and Rigathi Gachagua as a person, because he should be happy that there is the guy who gives him problems and sleepless nights is being kicked out of this country and going out there to chase other things, and his closest enemy Uhuru Kenyatta, who I believe now is the real enemy to him more than even Raila Odinga, he is also going to the UN. I think Rigathi Gachagua should be happy and he should start celebrating as early as now, because if he's planning to run in 2032, there seems to be no strong candidate who will oppose his candidature, because we all know that Kalonzo is a group of jokers. Thank you.
I get you, Honorable Vincent. He is saying that there is a group of jokers somewhere, and that is his own comments and opinion when it comes to politics. So we always make sure that we give you the best. And again, this is Afrique 24 TV. Here we always ensure that you get the best when it comes to sharing ideas and ensuring that we educate every follower who is making sure that he gets into this show whenever we are having a political show every day from 10 p.m. That is East African time. Wherever you're watching, make sure you always watch, subscribe, like, comment, and share our videos. And again, I want to show you what we always offer in this show. Here we have a lot of shows. We also have a show that takes place every Friday. Bed of Roses. Bed of Roses is a show that takes place every Friday at 8 p.m. That is East African time. Make sure you have a date with that, because here we discuss everything that happens in bed when you have a problems with your partner, when you have indifferences with your partner. Then in Bed of Roses, here it is where we solve those issues. Here it is where we make the marriages align in the right order. Here it is where we correct each other, because you know that no one is perfect and no one can be accurate. Only Lord Jesus Christ is perfect. And again, we always make sure that you get entertained because this is a very wonderful show. So I want to play a clip here so that you can have a date with us every Friday. We always have this show that is Bed of Roses that takes place in our Afrik 2-4 with your host that are mentions in that clip. So I want you to follow.
Join us every Friday from 8
clip.
p.m. to 9 p.m. for a captivating journey into the world of love, relationships, and romance. Presented by the dynamic trio Maggie Knox, MC Jesse, and Annie Waweru. Bed of Roses promises to be your weekly dose of heartwarming stories, insightful discussions, and expert advice on matters of the heart. Whether you're single, in a relationship, or simply love a good love story, this is the show for you. Don't miss out on the chance to unwind and indulge in the joys and challenges of love, all brought to you by our talented hosts. Tune into Afrik 24 every Friday from 8 p.m. to 9 p.m. and let us guide you through the enchanting world of Bed of Roses. Subscribe now and mark your calendars. You don't want to miss this. See you there.
See you there every Friday at 8 p.m. East African time. Wherever you're watching, make sure that you always tune. And we always have a political show that takes place every day at 10 p.m. That is East African time. So I want us to move to the next topic. We also saw today that Azimio issued a very explosive press, something that is explosive. You know, they had a very big press that they wanted to give a stern warning to Right Honorable William Ruto because they believe that he is taking the country in the wrong order. So we saw what was happening. We saw Raila Molo Odinga there. We saw other leaders who were having the press there. It's like they want to give a standing warning to the president that the president has been doing things which are not in the right order. And again, we saw President William Ruto addressing the EALA, the East African Legislative Assembly. And again, he gave a lot of comments there. We also saw what was happening today, that we saw Kia Omtata complaining about the high cost of what is happening in sugar factories. And this is one of the reasons that Kenyans are complaining. We are complaining that the prices of fertilizers and other farm produce are going high because the government is trying to tax them. So those are the kind of things that happens. And I want to play a clip here so that we can move directly and ensure that we go to the next topic. Be tuned here in Afrik 24.
President William Ruto has called on the members of the East African Legislative Assembly to Okay, I'll take that again. President William Ruto has called on the members of the East African Legislative Assembly to fully back the candidature of Kenya's former Prime Minister Raila Odinga for the African Union Commission chairperson seat. Now, while addressing a special sitting of EALA in Parliament, President Ruto affirmed that the East Africa's heads of state summit have endorsed that the region produces one candidate for the January 2025 AU elections.
As members of the summit in East Africa, as you're all aware, the chair of the AU is coming up next year as the term of Musa Faki, our current chair, comes to an end. It is going to be the turn for East Africa to provide the chair of the Africa Union. We have sat down in the spirit of the East African community. We have consulted as heads of state from the East African community together, and we have agreed to sponsor one candidate as East Africans. As East Africans, because that is the strength of our community, that we can do things together.
Yes, that is our President William Samoei Ruto saying that we are ready so that we can become one community when it comes to East Africa. He used that opportunity. He used that opportunity to pioneer, to pamper, so that we can get Raila Amolo Odinga to become the AU. And you have heard that a lot of leaders were clapping there. They were enjoying that when he said, as a East Africa, we need to bring on board one of our own. And again, that was very superb, because if you can again those leaders, then it means that our president is ready to support Raila Amolo Odinga when it comes to AU chairmanship. So this one is very good, and I have heard a lot of leaders saying that the president is ready so that he can support Raila Amolo Odinga. Do you think the president want to bring on board Honorable Vincent Machoka to give his comments when it comes to this idea? Because President himself made sure that when he was given that opportunity, he used it in the right way. And you have seen leaders clapping there, because they believe the president is talking the truth. So how do you say, Honorable Vincent, about those comments from our own president, William Samoei Ruto?
Yeah, thank you for that. This is a very. I've been waiting for this topic all day because today I woke up in the morning and the first thing I had to turn my TV on to look is this speech that he had to give at the East African Assembly. And let me tell you, the cameraman in the morning did a very poor job, and I want to thank Citizen TV for doing a good job. They didn't show Raila Odinga's daughter in the morning. I'm happy now that the Citizen TV managed to locate her, looking to her phone seriously, pretending like she's not listening to the president, but inside the heart was pumping so fast. I'm so happy to see that, and you can see a smile in that clip that you just played. I want to say that I followed the speech of the president, and you all know that whenever the president is always is having a speech somewhere, he usually articulates everything and he usually finishes everything. So there's a lot of things he said besides that AU chair stuff. For example, in his speech, I noted that he said we need to stand together as EAC, IALA, so that we can champion for the institutional reforms in Africa and in the world, so that the global south, which is Africa, that's the name that he commonly refers to as Africa, so that the global south can also have a cake on the table, so that we don't become the menu as we have been since God created the world. I think listening to the speech about institutional reforms, and that goes way to show that the president is already settling in for that position that he was given the other day at the AU summit in Addis Ababa last month, and is already starting the process of championing for institutional reforms. And you can all agree with me that Kenya is a progressive country. We have developed our institutions, although we have not gotten to the point where the Americans and the Europeans and the Asians are, but we are far much better than majority of the countries in Africa. And I think that Ruto getting that seat was imminent, and that's one way of showing that Kenya, people have faith in Kenya and they have faith in President William Ruto. You can also remember that in the speech, he also said that Africa is going to be the biggest beneficiary of the climate change finances that they agreed at the COP28 last year in Dubai, COP28 that happened in Dubai last year, September. I don't know if it was October or September. I think that way you can agree with me that the president is one person who is in touch with everything that he says, and whenever he's speaking to the people, you tend to feel like this guy knows exactly what he's doing. That's why when I say that I wanted to see that picture of Raila Odinga's daughter, so that being showed to the public when he was saying that as East Africa we have agreed to support one candidate. That means that as much as William Ruto is going to spend the Kenyan taxpayer money to campaign for Raila Odinga, it means that the EAC is also going to support the campaign by financing also the campaign with a little resources. That also goes away to show that Raila Odinga is already secured 8 votes from EAC. We know that Somalia was admitted to EAC yesterday, and it was confirmed yesterday that they are now officially in the EAC. So I want to say that this conversation of AU, as I said in the beginning of this month, of last month, when I first had the chance to debate here, I said that Raila Odinga has already won the seat. We are only waiting to celebrate next year, February. The only thing that is preventing Raila Odinga from, the only thing that is preventing Kenya from kufanya sherehe ni time. It's only time that is preventing us from celebrating the win. And I tell you, Boniface, we will be here next year to agree and to celebrate that AU has won, Kenya has won that seat, and we will now start talking about what is now the benefits of that seat. So for now, I think if we can, if I don't know if you manage to get the clip of the speech of the president, so that we can also get the summary of what he said and what I've just said and what I've just explained, because I think there are people who missed that thing because maybe they were at work, so that we can also find a way of debunking and educating our followers that there's a lot of things that Iala is lacking. And by the way, there's this guy who was given a chance to give the vote of thanks. This is a Ugandan MP who gave the vote of thanks. There's a lot of requests that he gave to the president about the problems that Iala is facing. And there's one thing that I captured from the speech from the vote of thanks that guy gave. That guy mentioned something that I've always said, that Iala the IALA should be independent from the governments. IALA should be given financial autonomy. IALA should be separated from the courts, the East African Court of Justice. The IALA should be separated from the office of the Secretary General, because, as he said, you cannot be able to separate. You cannot be able to oversight the Secretary General when you meet him at the corridors every day. And I agree with him, because if, for example, I was supposed to to oversight Boniface or Sam, and we are living in the same building, I cannot oversight you, because you will find me. You will always find me on the stairs, and you ask me, why are you looking at me like that? So I think the Secretary General of IALA should be put into account, and that's when we can strengthen our IALA as an institution. But as it is now, they are depending on the government to finance their operations. And you know that there is a saying that says that he who there's that saying that Ruto loves saying, that he who gives the piper, I don't know, is the one who calls the tune. Ile wanasemanga mwenye umbwa ndiye analisha umbwa, na umbwa haiwezi bwekea mwenyewe. That's a saying that I know most of the people have got in contact with. So I think Yala should be freed from the government, so that we cannot sabotage the dreams that our forefathers had. Our forefathers foresaw a time that we will have a single currency. They foresaw a time that we will have no boundaries in our East African. But as it is now, even the financing was deducted from 8.3 million to $7.3 million. So it means that IALA is collapsing if William Ruto, who is now the champion for the institutional reforms, cannot step up and support the IALA. And I believe going forward, we are going to see a lot of activities going on, especially in the IALA. And the first activity that I think the president is going to do is putting a very strong cabinet secretary in that position of IALA, so that we can have a strong person, like the way he reshuffled and put Musalia Mudavadi in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, and we are seeing things moving. So I think the first thing that the president is going to do is to strengthen his cabinet in that position, so that we can have a creative person in that IALA, so that whenever he's going for briefings and he's waiting for briefings, it becomes easy for him to know where to pick from and what he can delegate to his cabinet secretary to do. So I think going forward, the president has a lot of work to do for the tenure that he has. I don't know if he's going to hold the office for 4 years. I think if not 2 years. I think for those time, we know Ruto is a go-getter and he will do everything humanly possible to make sure that the reforms are impacted to the East African community. So I think if our viewers found time to go through the video, there's a lot of things you can pick from the speech of the president that was very, very powerful. And I think that's the kind of leadership that we have been waiting for in our EAC. And I hope that going forward, we are going to have that issue of one single currency, one common currency in EALA actualized, because that's a dream I've always had. Because I believe that if we have one single currency, it's going to be very difficult for those people who rely on money laundering to run their business. That's one way we are going to fight corruption. And I think if also William Ruto can champion for a dream that we have, the institution of fighting corruption that is unison, so that we can have one institution that fights corruption in Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Somalia, Burundi, Rwanda, and other countries that are in EALA. That's one way we are going to manage and curb corruption in East Africa. And we become, because we have a population of about 400 million people in those 8 countries. If you add Somalia, we're going to get to 540 million people. That's a very big voting. That's a very big economic bloc that even the EU lacks. We have a very, very big bloc in the EU, and I think that's a good thing. We should be celebrating as a EAL, and we should champion. We should give the government ideas. So I think I've said quite a lot. Let me allow also others to jump in and share their views. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. I hear you. I get you. I get you, Honorable Vincent. And I want to read the comments. Of course, we know that we have comments from all over the world. And Goodyear has been one of our loyal followers here in Africa. He is saying, this is what happens when you triplets gel. No one can break the bond, not even the court. We have to put our political arts on. He's saying that she's saying that no one can break the bond, not even the courts. We have to put our political arts on. So this one means that there is always a relationship between what happens on the ground and what happens behind the scenes. Do you believe this one is true, Mr. Sam Mienda?
Yes, I want to agree, because politics is planned, and they are planned. In fact, let me tell you what we see politicians do during political rallies. Hiyo ni machache, but we have a lot behind the doors. Huko ndio watu wanapangana vizuri, and we have to agree on that. I just agree that there is a lot that happens behind the doors kuliko zile ambazo tunaona. Yes.
There's a lot what happens behind the doors, more than what we see. And again, I want to welcome Ramesu Yegon. He's saying peace. And another comment here is saying, Goodyear is saying, I enjoyed William Ruto's speech today when addressing the EAC, that is East African Community. His presence was felt by delegates. It's like the delegates felt what was happening. They felt that William Ruto is a good leader, because you can see the attention that the leaders were giving when he was saying the matters when it comes to AU. It shows that the presence of William Samuel Ruto was felt, and they wanted really to hear what President William Ruto is cooking. And I am very sure that he cooked, because we know that he is a very brilliant president, and he knows how to feature stories and very good content in the right way. That's why he was very serious when addressing the ESC. And again, Honorable Vincent has said that he wanted to see the attention of the daughter of Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Winnie Odinga, because we know that she's one of the members there. And he has said that she was very busy pretending that she's not hearing what the President William Ruto is saying. But
I wish
again,
to differ.
so
I wish to
let
differ.
me finish. Let me finish so that I can give you time, Mr. Sam. So it was like she was not feeling what the president is saying, but deep down maybe the heart was pounding spontaneously because of the support from our president. What can you say, Mr. Sam, when it comes to this? Because we have seen William Ruto featuring a very big story during that conference, but as we know that was the very big opportunity to feature that story, to feature that comment, so that he can get the attention of the whole ESC, that East African community. And again, that was very good because leaders were clapping as he talked. It's like William Ruto cooks a lot of content, even without reading from nowhere.
So I wish to a little bit differ with what Honorable Machoka said about the daughter of Honorable Raila Odinga, especially when he was saying like she wasn't bearing that attention. I think it was just for for a short time because we didn't see the whole conversation. I know she was very attentive. She was very attentive. It's only that minute maybe she had to look for a phone. But I want to agree with what he has said. The president indeed is a very, I might differ with some of his ideologies. I might not be in Kenya Kwanza, but the president is one of my role models in the political field because he's the guy who, when he's given an opportunity, he knows how to take well of that opportunity. Look at the way the speech he spoke today in the Yala, and you can agree, even if you are his enemy, whichever the way, you can agree that the president knows how to put well his work.
Mr. Sam is saying you cannot afford to hate. Mr. Sam is saying you cannot afford to hate William Ruto. Can you continue?
You cannot, yeah, in fact, you cannot afford to hate. And especially when you are someone who likes facts. Personally, I'm a journalist and we talk about facts. So where facts are, you have to say they are there. You cannot be posing from morning up to evening and something that you are seeing by your eyes. So the president, I can, if I was to rate today 10 out of 10, then I could have said 10 out of 10 because he actually placed well. And is one of the strategists when it comes to politics. And I know Mzee will take this thing home mapema. I know there could be some interest from other countries, maybe to stage a candidate from the East Africa, but I know he has gone into countries to lobby and tell them we need one. And when you look at the leadership of AU, previously, the Central Africa has had it, the West Africa has had it, the Southern has had it. Then we have the North Africa. Now the current one, Musa Faki is holding it. So the only region that has remained, and that's one of the things that will favor our own Honorable Raila Odinga to clinch this seat, it's the Eastern Africa. And in the East Africa, we cannot have more than 2 candidates because hiyo ni kuharibu kura. So we have to stage one and we all drum the support. And I think the Westerners has agreed. We saw Obasanjo coming to Kenya and he was drumming support for Raila Odinga and is one of the envoys in the African Union. So I believe that this thing will come home. So as also we are going, we need to look at Africa, Kenya itself. If today it happens that we have the AU position, then come 2026 that we have the United Nations Secretariat also. I think Kenya, we are coming up, and it's one of the countries that you can note. And I think you can agree with me, it's one of the countries that the world is looking up to. One in the East Africa and the entire Africa. If we avoid some corruption and everything, we put our infrastructure together, we work with the government, and we try to initiate infrastructure services like the hospitals and whatever, we can become one of the greatest countries in the entire Africa. And as they say, Kenya is the pride of Africa. So Kenya, we are in the right direction, and I like the fact that the president is trying to put us in a position that we are all recognized by all countries. So I think that's what I can say for now.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sam, for giving that wonderful ideas when it comes to William Ruto. And you cannot afford, you think that you cannot afford to hate William Samuel Ruto. You cannot afford to act contrary to what William Samuel Ruto is doing, because again, he has said that whenever William Samuel Ruto is given the opportunity, then he knows how to utilize the opportunity. He knows how to feature in those opportunities so that you can get the entire content. So Goodyear is saying Natiko, that is Natiko working well, and Ruto should have a spring on his foot. It's like Ruto is pioneering on well. Is now saying Ruto is not going. So here is saying, sorry, single currency will not work. We know that that common currency now will make us uniform. There will be the uniformity between the East Africa, because we know that if you have the single currency, then we have common currency. We know those effects that were there during those times whereby we had the COMESA, we had the SADC, we had the ECOWAS, we had the IGAD. You know that there were suggestions that they were using the common currency. We know the effect of the single common currency. When you have the common currency being linked to those countries, then definitely it will be a lot of problem. We know what comes when we have the common currency. So here she is saying, sorry, single currency will not work. Jowongi he is saying Zakayo ni mchawi bana, kwani anaroga president ya wa East Africa ni mganga. Someone here is saying the comment I'm reading here is like is trying to say William Samuel Ruto knows how to capture the attention of the East African president. So
Let me answer
that
him.
is a comment from one of our followers, and
Let me
it
answer
is
him.
not a comment from Afrique, but is a comment from one of our followers. He's saying William Samuel Ruto is like he knows how to capture the attention of the followers and all the presidents. It's like
Let
he
me
knows the
answer him.
strategy.
Let me answer him respectfully. That's a very good comment, by the way. That's one way of hiyo ni kucheza na kina lugha. It's not offensive to say William Ruto ni mchawi. That's one way of saying that Ruto is charming, and he knows how to win hearts of people, and he has managed to win the hearts of the presidents of East Africa and in Africa in general, because as I said before, William Ruto is an eloquent and a very, very well articulated president who, when given a chance to speak to you, he might even take away your girlfriend or your wife. That's how good he is in terms of speech, and that's how sweet his words are. So that guy is just saying that the president has managed to win the hearts of of presidents of East Africa and Africa in general. Another thing he just said there about the common currency. Let's not look at the common currency from the perspective of who is the giant and who is not, because I think common currency is a debate that we need to have now, because for us to negotiate and argue in Africa as giants we are, so that we can compete with the likes of EU and America. We also need to sit down and form our own currency, so that whenever we are importing our, our goods from outside, we are importing on our terms, and we are importing using our currency, not the dollar, not the EU, not the euro, not the Chinese yuan. So I think it's a good thing if one day we realize that dream. I'm sure it will take a lot of time to realize the dream, but I think it's a dream that I think if one day I also become president, I'll try to champion and make sure that we have that thing working. Another comment that I read there that I also wish to reply to my friend Goodyear is that Ruto is not going to walk. I think we all know that Ruto is one guy who is prepared for anything and for any circumstances that come. He is already prepared to win the Iala seat, and he is prepared also to go face to face with the Africa heads in the seat of UN. And you know that seat is very big, and he's trying to position Kenya in that seat so that we can be the giants, as I said, we can be the giants we are in Africa. So I think those two seats are already secured for Kenya, and I don't know if other presidents will want Kenya to win the seat also, but I think if we are the people who are going to push for that seat, we need to take it fast and enjoy the seat for 4 years before we can give it to another person. So I think good year that comment is in order.
Yeah, thank you so much, Honorable Vincent. Is saying that Ruto has the plans, has the best strategy when it comes to making sure that the ruling, and in everything that he does, he always foresees. He can always know what will happen in the next 4 years or 2 years. It's like he's a prophet. That is William Samoei Ruto, because whatever he does not even jump into conclusion. He makes sure that he gives you the best opinions and comments. And again, whatever he says definitely is going to make impact. So here is Afrique 24, and we welcome you wherever you are. You are enjoying our content today, and you know that this is a political show whereby we are featuring every political content that happened in our country today, and we want to brief you wherever you are tuning in, because here in Afrique, we make sure that you get the entire stories that happen today when it comes to political matters. And again, Afrique 24 is a big brand whereby you can always be having us anytime, because we every day at 10 p.m., that is East African time, we always bring this political show. Make a date. Always have the calendar, because if you have the calendar, then definitely you are not going to miss or come late when it comes to the show, because here we exchange ideas and give the best content, and also educate you when it comes to political matters. And again, in Afrique 24, we always have the Dimba show. Dimba show happens every Saturday from 12 p.m. That is East African time, and you always have a date with us. Make sure you come here so that you can witness the biggest platform whereby we give analysis of football in all Premier Leagues, in all leagues. For example, the EPL, Bundesliga, Serie A, and again the Kenya Premier League, and also the UEFA Champions League. And as we know that today there is Champions League matches here in Afrique 24, that is Dimba. It is where you get all those. And I want to make you know what we offer here in Afrique 24, because in Dimba, we always give you the best sports analysts every Saturday. Yeah, make a date. Always have your
Dimba.
time.
Yo, Dimba, this guy here is a Manchester United fan, and on Saturday we'll be here with him.
Definitely,
it's okay.
We will be here so that we can discuss all those when it comes to football, because here now, either you are a Manchester United fan, either you are a Manchester City fan, either you are an Arsenal fan, you are a Tottenham Hotspur fan, either, or you always support Newcastle United. It is here whereby we give you platform to give us what you can share when it comes to football matters, because we know that football is a wide industry, and the sports industry and large. It has a lot of content, and we always make sure that we cover heavy sports that happen in all dimensions. So good year is again saying we should be proud of William Ruto. He has done a lot in the 18 months. Let's him continue on the first lane by entering his first term without distractions. Yeah, that is a comment from one of our followers that he is saying that we should be proud with our president. he has done a lot. He is performing massively, and we should be proud with him. And definitely, so that he can end the first term without a lot of distraction and a lot of interference, because he has the plans to change this country. Do you believe this one is true, Mr. Sam?
Yeah, I think I am one of the guys who didn't support our president during the elections. But for now, he's our president, and as he has said, we need to give him time as he tries to figure out the best way to serve Kenyans. So I want to agree with him. We have given him time, and as he's also trying to control the political noise, maybe removing away those obstacles like Raila and everything. For me, I think let's give the president time. It is his time. We are not in an election. Let him have his time so that he can give Kenyans the best as he tries to figure out how to revive the economy, give Kenyans the best services and everything. Let him work. Let him work. It is his time. Yes.
Yeah, he's saying let him work, let the president work, let him
Yes.
deliver to the Kenyans, because he promised a
Yes.
lot, and
Yes.
Kenyans are ready. Do you think, Honorable Vincent, this one is true that for the first 18 months, President William Ruto is doing good, and we need to give him time so that he can finish the first term without distraction, without disturbance, because he is performing massively when it comes to making sure that the country development and everything goes on in the right direction.
One word. Time is always the best judge, and I believe time is the best judge. Time is the best judge, and we must give him time so that he continues doing the good work that he's doing. So, as Sam has said, we can only measure the work the president has done when we are going to the next election, and the next election is 3 years away from now. We must allow him work, give him time. We can we can mark, or we can go through the report card during the 2027 campaigns. He will come to the masses and tell us what he is not done, what he has done, what he's planning to do that he did not do in time, so that as he is going for the next tenure of 5 more years, we all get to understand that we are having the right man for the job. So I think a good year is in order, saying that we should allow him do more, and we should give him time to work for the Kenyans.
Yeah, we
Yes.
should give him time. Time. Honorable Vincent is saying that we give President William Ruto time, because time is the factor, time is the determinant when it comes to this country, when we have William Ruto as the president. So Azimio La Umoja has cracked that you don't see Martha Karua in Azimio-led meetings. Why? It's like Martha Karua has been acting in low key when it comes to meetings whereby Azimio La Umoja are having press. People are saying that Martha Karua has been so quiet since they lost the election. And we know that it is a very tough time when you are vying for example, president or a governor or a senator, and again you come to lose that seat. There are a lot of things that cut across when there is an election. So it's like Martha Karua took this one as a break and a withdrew from the politics. Do you believe this one is true, that Martha Karua has not been participating in this Azimio-led press, whereby they're trying to give their opinions when it comes to the government? As you know, that Azimio is the biggest opposition in the country, as we know that they gave a lot of competition come that was back in 2022. Is this true that Martha Karua has been not been actively involved in politics, whereby the Azimio is giving press? Mr. Sam.
Yeah, I think Godia is very correct. And first of all, let us look at Martha Karua. She was the deputy president, uh, the deputy president candidate for the Azimio-led coalition. she was deputizing Raila Odinga, and perhaps when the conversation come, as we were talking about who should take the mantle from the Azimio leader, maybe we were not talking about. I don't know why people don't talk about Martha Karua now that the fact that she was the deputy president candidate. But look at Martha Karua. Martha Karua comes from the larger Mount Kenya, and her with her friend, this Jubilee, about the narrative of sijui Kamwene, something like that. They are thinking about how to take the entire Mount Kenya. So I think again, Martha Karua, I think for her to be part of the deputy president on last year's, the other year's general election, that's 2022, she was a wrong choice. People are talking about Kalonzo Musyoka. Kalonzo Musyoka has worked with Baba since 2013 up to where we are. So that's why we talk Kalonzo Musyoka to be more of the one who should take the mantle, unlike Martha, who was the deputy president last general elections. She should be the one, maybe people should be thinking about taking the mantle now that she was the second in command, right? That they won elections. So Martha Karua, she's thinking about the central Kenya, and that's why she doesn't even engage in most of the political rallies that maybe or the press that the Azimio-led coalition is having. So again, Martha Karua, she lacks that political base. You know, she's a person who cannot command that political following. She cannot come here in Kisii or go anywhere and say like she's the only one there. Maybe she's the chief guest and come and collect that masses of people to attend her rally. In terms of politics, Martha Karua, she's very weak, and I think she doesn't bring that much effect in the Azimio-led coalition. So Martha Karua, for me, I think Azimio can be Azimio without her, and she didn't even bring anything during the general election. So Martha Karua, I think Martha Karua doesn't really have that much effect on the Azimio-led coalition. And I think, she's very bold and she is ever serious on things that she's doing. Look at during the Kibaki government, she resigned. Even they termed her as one of the men because of the bold steps she took to resign from the cabinet of the late Mwai Kibaki. Then Martha Karua, look at her. She has that ego that she likes things that are straightforward, and the nature of maybe our politics, it has some brokering in it. Maybe that's why she even avoids the Azimio pressers and everything. So I think Martha in the national politics, she's still far away. She cannot even win the Kirinyaga County gubernatorial seat. So Martha should work on a political journey.
By the way, let me add something. Boniface, you muted your mic and you're trying to speak.
I mean, that is Mr. Sam saying that Mother will take time so that he can win and give impact when it comes to even the presidential seat and even the governor seat. But again, we know that Martha Karua has been there. She has been a very good politician. Back in 90s, she has been there. Up to now, we are in 21st century. She has been there, so maybe she understands politics. Only the problem is the strategy. We know that you need to have strategy when it comes to politics in Kenya.
Let me disagree with both of you. I will disagree with both of you. I've never taken Martha Karua serious because she is a senior counsel who does not believe in the institutions that they promulgated in the Constitution of 2010. She is a very senior counsel who does not believe in the systems that they build in Kenya, because she had the only chance to become the deputy president, but she wasted the chance with William Ruto, and she decided to go to the deep state. So I don't count her as a strategic woman as you guys were trying to parade her. I don't take Mother Karua seriously, and right now William Ruto exposed her naked during the last year election when he defeated her in our own polling station. I
Yes.
told you last time, Mother Karua, I told you she managed to bring Azimio 39 votes from our village, the local polling station. Even the local people did not believe that she can be deputy president. So I think one thing I said last time in this platform is that Azimio was meant to fail from the word go, and they fell into a trap that William Ruto set for them. Because if they had Kalonzo, they could have challenged us. No.
Yeah.
But they decided to go with the weakest link that we had created. You know, William Ruto paraded Martha Karua as one strong candidate who is perceived as a iron lady. We all know that that's the name that she calls herself. So she's just an iron lady who can only iron her clothes. You know, she likes wearing those vitenges. That's the best iron lady we can call Mother Karua. So the same. I want to agree with what Sama said that Mother Karua. If you put Mother Karua and Kalonzo Musyoka in one balance, I think I will go for Kalonzo because
Yeah.
we can sympathize. You know that Kalonzo is a strong candidate. It's sympathy that we can give him, that you have supported this guy for long. We tried to tell you to join William Ruto so that you can get out of the political cold the way Wetangula and David did. But he decided to commit suicide again for the third time, as he said. So I don't take those two guys seriously. And if those are the people you are going to face in 2027, I think we should not even waste ballot papers, and we should not waste time to go queue at the polling station, because even the Kenyans will not vote for them. Those people are not serious.
One.
That
Please.
is Honorable Vincent saying that we should not even waste time when we are going to vote come 2027, because they don't take Angus Chief Kalonzo Musyoka serious. That was his comment, not afraid to for comments. And if then they are not having trust with them, then definitely it will be an easy game come 2027 to William Samoei Ruto. Jawong is saying, ikawa mimi ni mfuasi wa Ruto, lakini ninaweza kukubali kuwa Ruto huyo ni mzuri sana kwa kuongea. We know that President William Ruto is good in public speaking, public communication. He can vibe you. He can give you the best words so that he can bring you closer when you want something. And as we know, Kenyans know who is William Samuel Ruto, because during the campaigns he went all over the country to campaign for himself, and that's why he was saying, despite the support from the government, we know that the former boss supported Azimio. He declared that he is supporting Azimio. And again, a lot of Anjizins, a lot of people supported Raila Amolo Odinga. But William Ruto said that I have God and I believe that I'm going to win this election. And that's why he always keeps the promise. We know that William Ruto is one of the presidents who keeps the promises, that whatever he promises to Kenyans and or anyone else, something that William Ruto promises definitely is going to deliver, is going to make sure that he keeps the promise. And we know that he was saying, niacheni huyo mzee, I'm going to deal with him. And again, we saw what happened. It's like he dealt with them in the right way. Goodyear is saying the leadership will be tough. Azimios have to unite. Number one, right now, Kalonzo Musyoka is looking good by putting people like Gideon Moy closer for votes. We saw Kalonzo Musyoka. It's like he is hyping to get this seat. Now he's trying to make people who have those impacts when it comes to politics and in other regions like Gideon Moy come closer, because you know that if he gets Gideon Moy, then he will pull parts of challenges and parts of those people who support collagens so that they can come closer and buy and give competition. But that is a comment from one of us. It is not a comment from Afrik, and he's saying that maybe Kalonzo Musyoka is trying to get the best strategy so that he can win the election come 2027. That is a good year, and he or she is saying in politics you need a base. Mother Karua does not have one.
Nobody
You need a
has.
base.
Nobody has a
Eh,
base. You create your own base. And let me maybe rephrase what Goody has said. Is in order, by the way. Political bases are created. They are not imaginary bases that we just wake up and find. You create your base and you hold it together. If you have to use maybe witchcraft, or if you want to use a charm to hold your people together, you can do that as long as you have your people with you. But Mother Karua wants a clean politics, and we all understand that politics can never be clean. We can never have a chance, a time where you are not fought politically. We cannot have politics where you are not insulting your colleague. That's the nature of our politics. You can see what is going on in the America right now. Trump is facing a lot of cases. Even if he won a case to run for the primaries, we all know that that does not that shows that even Americans have the same problems we are having as Africans. The only difference is that our problems are being aired on live TV. So I want to agree with Goodia that if you want to be a good politician, you must solicitize your base. You can solidify your base first. The moment you manage to put your base together, that's the moment when you now can claim to be a strong leader. And I believe Kalonzo and there's another joker you just mentioned there called Gideon Moi. Those are I can call them stooge politicians. Those politicians who want someone to clap for them so that they can be seen. They want someone to push them so that they can be seen. They want someone to front them so that they can do something. So right now they are starting the conundrum that we saw in 2021 and 2019 to 2021 of Oka. And then they used to have meetings in Naivasha, and then the next time they are in Mombasa, the next time they are in Pan Africa Hotel. They are trying to make their politics make sense, but themselves they don't even make sense. So I think w- Gideon Moi and Kalonzo Musyoka and this other guy from Western called Eugene Wamalwa and this governor who was almost impeached, Mwangi wa Iria, those are a group, and allow me call them a group of jokers who gathered together to cloud chase because I don't believe that there is something serious they can bring to the table. And I know Kenyans are very smart. There's a narrative that William Ruto used in the campaigns last year. He used to say that wajinga waliisha Kenya, and wajinga wameisha. Wajinga wameona it's time that we do away with those names that we've had in ballots for years. We've had the name Odinga for over 30 years. In fact, the better part of my life, I've been hearing the word Odinga, the word Kenyatta, the word Moi. This is the right time that we bring another gem of politicians to the space, the likes of me and Kina Sam, the new blood to politics. So right now, the likes of Moi, even if they make it to the ballot in 2027, they will only manage to get 26 votes from their village, and maybe those people who just get drunk and vote for anyone. Those are the only people who are going to vote for them. If in fact I get a chance to vote for a candidate, I can even vote for that guy who was in the ballot last year called Waige Mwaure, because I believe he's better than these clowns. So let me say that good year has made a very good point there about solidifying and solidifying your base before you can call yourself a political giant. So I think I'm clear.
Yeah. Thank you, Honorable Vincent, and that was wonderful. Kalonzo traveling to Nakuru was a big deal. We saw Kalonzo Musyoka and other leaders from Eastern region. We saw Senator for Kitui, that is Enoch Hio, accompanying him, and Member of Parliament for Kathiani. They were there giving their ideas when it comes to 2027 and patrolling Nakuru and the entire region. So they wanted to make sure that Kalonzo has been given the limelight to come 2027. It's a good idea, yes, because he's trying to now interact with every Kenyans despite the tribal matters. As we know that he has been relying on Kamba regions, that is Kitui, Machakos, and Makueni. And we know that you need to be a leader who can go to all over the country so that you can make the Kenyans know who you are, because it is only by what you can deliver that the Kenyans will be convinced to vote for you come to general election. Thank you so much, guys, for giving us those comments. I want us to pop into the next one. And again, here, I want you to follow this clip rightly so that we can know what we're going to talk about come to the next meeting.
In the meantime, the national government has embarked on a process of handing over assets of defunct county councils as it finalizes the transfer of all devolved functions. Counties are expected to take over assets including land and buildings worth billions of shillings in the final phase of the transfer. The Intergovernmental Relations Technical Committee has until the end of this month to transfer all the functions in line with the Constitution. Speaking in Naivasha, Devolution PS Teresia Mbaika said the valuation of assets has kicked off in 18 counties, and she said the committee is currently working on the final report on transfer of functions, which will be ready by the end of the month.
Learn about how devolution can be implemented.
Currently, the State Department for Devolution, together with other stakeholders and IGRTC, we're in the process of finalizing on transfer of functions to the county government. The IGRTC, which was the lead on this, it's doing the final report for purposes of gazettement and subsequent transfer of the same to the county government, including the resources to this function. Also undertaking the valuation of assets.
Council of Governors and the national government keep talking, avoid disputes, and as has been emphasized this morning by the Honorable Wetangula, avoid going to court on each other. Use the law as provided. Let's avoid using money we should have used to develop our counties in courts. These last 2 weeks or 3 weeks, we've had this thing in Parliament where there was a case about transferring monies on roads to the counties. We have now resolved the matter through talking to each other, and governors had to withdraw the case from court. If we had spoken before they went to court, this would have been resolved. And so as Parliament, we are encouraging the two levels of government, keep talking to each other, be cordial, do pre-consultations before we make decisions. It's going to work better for all of us.
But even with the transfer of those functions, even with the transfer of resources, for our system of devolved governance to work well, they will still need to keep in good consultation, in good cooperation, in coordination. They will need to see and seize opportunities for working well together in transforming the country as envisaged in the Beta Plan.
Yes. We know that this is a report whereby by the end of the month, then definitely we are going to have this report whereby there will be transfer of functions. And the functions from the central government, now they are going to be distributed to the county government. That again, you have heard that it has to take place so that the governors need to come together. They need to consult so that they can perform well. Do you think this one is a good move, Honorable Vincent, when it comes to distributing or making sure that the county governors now they have that ability to perform up to a maximum despite being linked to the central government?
I think personally, let me first of all say that already the governors are overwhelmed with the duties they have been given. They just want more loopholes to steal money. But it's also a very good move. For those counties that have good governors, this is a very good move. But for those governors, those counties that have corrupt individuals in the position of governor, I think they are creating an avenue for more looting and more problems in counties because already even the governors have not understood the roles. Most of the governors have not understood their functions, fully functions that they are already being given. So if the government wants to fully develop the roles of the counties that are still in the central government, that that is something that should be done cautiously because we can't be rushing things the way we are rushing. And I want to advise the PS. Resian Baika is a very educated PS from Makueni, and I think she's going to advise the president that as we are going to develop these functions, we must also strengthen the institutions that oversight the the counties, especially the Senate. The Senate needs to have its own financial autonomy before we can talk about devolving all functions. So I think this time we can, as a people, we can be proud that the president is supporting the evolution fully, and is doing that in broad daylight. He's not doing the way Uhuru used to do. Maybe Uhuru used to give and take, and he will give a county something and take something from them. But this time around, you're having a leader who is giving the leaders a chance to perform their functions freely and independently. So going forward, I think that report, when that report will be sent to counties, Kenyans should also be given a chance to participate in the process of delegating those duties to the presumed corrupt governors in the county. And I will keep saying that devolution was a blunder that we committed as a people because we thought that we were bringing the functions to the grassroots, but in real sense we were creating more corrupt loopholes and corruption cartels in this country. So I want to say that if that thing is going to work, then we must first work on strengthening the counties, the county oversight and bodies. That's the only way we are going to win these. We are going to enjoy these functions of the devolution. So, from that speech that I've heard Uchieng say, Uchieng has put across a very good point, and I know that's how it's supposed to be. But these governors want to eat also, so that's why they go to court and delay some things so that their lawyers can eat and their friends can benefit from those cases. So even if they want to say that the government should stop taking other governments to court, that's not gonna work. It's free and a chom. That's not going to work. So let me submit, and I want to do something briefly and come back. Thank you.
Yeah, so
Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent, for giving me us that wonderful submission because we know that this devolution definitely is going to give the counties, that is the governors, those capabilities so that they can run the government, that is the counties, in the right way. And again, the counties nowadays have been complaining that they are not getting money in the correct order, and again, the disbursement of funds from the central government. So here, when the devolution is over and it is confirmed, then we will be sure that money will be coming in plenty form, and now the cap will be on their side, that they have to make sure that they perform up to their best, because now when you are the governor and the county is not moving on well, then definitely you will be questionable for any loops that happen. Then the problem is the governors ready to pioneer their counties so that we can attain the vision 20. That because we have heard that by the end of this month, that is March, then definitely the report will be out. Yeah, I want to bring on board Honorable Mzalendo. Mzalendo, welcome to Africa 24, and this is a political show whereby we are sharing ideas when it comes to politics and giving comments so that we can enlighten and educate our followers, and wherever anyone is watching this Africa 24, so that he can enjoy what we share every day from 10 p.m. Welcome, Zarendo, and what is your take when it comes to this transfer of function from the central government to the county governments?
Thank you, Boniface. Good evening, Vincent, and the gentleman on the background, and the panelists, as usual. Good evening, and the guys in the comment section. Habari zenyu. Anyway, what I can say about devolution is a sad scenario. Although in some counties it has worked, but majority of the counties devolution has done nothing, and that's why I'm very reluctant to say devolution that money should be added to this devolved government. My take is that some of these things is devolved corruption. We have seen money that has been taken to the counties being eaten up, and so many cases at EACC yet to be prosecuted. So a lot has been going on in the countings in forms of corruption. You just saw the other day the Auditor General saying that most counties have got very many fake banking accounts. You needed to get that story so that we highlight some of these things. Most counties have got more than 1,000 bank accounts in different places, in different branches and in different banking institutions. So they open an account. Just those accounts are just to eat money that is coming from the national government, and this is taxpayers' money. Before government could devolve some of this function, and I've seen Ruto has got a goodwill of increasing funds at the county level. But you see, you are just increasing their allocations for corruption. If there are no measures to stop the stealing happening in the counties, then this money will go to waste. We have wasted almost over 10 years since we got the new constitution and into devolution, and yet we have not seen some significant changes in some of our counties. So it is a good thing to give counties more money, but let the money come with some measures. I wish that every single coin that the government is giving the counties should be directed to particular projects. For example, Ruto knows that he's going to be there for the next 5 years. Then 5 years is going to work with the government. Half of the budget that is given to the county government should go to the government functions, meaning that things like water, provision of water, provision of good healthcare, which are devolved, but should be run by the government. So the money that is being sent to the counties should be directly targeted to projects that the government hold dearly in their policies. If I was the president of the Republic of Kenya, that is what I would do. Although most counties have got different needs, different needs, and the constitution is very clear about public participation, then those specific needs, if they are in line with what the government of the day is saying, then we should fund those needs. So in 5 years, when the president is going around, he can say that, my government provided for you this, my government provided for you this. But you see, with the devolved funds in the counties, it simply means that the tribal political leaders will still cling on these counties that they control, ensure that their people are at the helm of these countries, because some of the money trickle down to political parties and their henchmen.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mzalendo, because that was wonderful submission. I want to bring on board Mr. Sam. Mr. Sam, we have seen that there is this transfer of functions from the central government to the devolution to the counties. That is, the counties now need to take the mandate so that they can be controlling everything that happens in the counties. And you know that the 47 counties that we have in Kenya, here it is whereby every governor is responsible. Every governor is questionable for anything that happens in the county. Do you think this one is a big move when it comes to transfer of function from central government to the county governments?
So, what our listeners need to know, we formerly had a centralized government that every service was done at a national level. Then we had devolution, that is in the 2010 constitution. Some services were devolved to counties to bring services to common mwananchi hapa karibu. So I can say generally devolution has worked partially na pia haijafanya kazi. It's like we devolved corruption to the county level. The people are using the counties to loot money and loot money everywhere. There are some of the functions that I felt like even if devolution was good, they couldn't have been devolved, especially when you look at the sector of health. Health is one of the very sensitive ministry that wasn't supposed to be maybe devolved. The issue of maybe housing, the housing that we are having, I think that one was good to be devolved because governors understand the county and everything. Even if we have talked about different counties having different needs, but these devolved ministries, or rather the functions, there are some that could have remained with the national government. Look at the health sector, as I was saying, whereby we have doctors and nurses striking in one certain county, whereby others are going on. Then there's late payments. It's a lot of challenge, and that's where sometimes we question devolution. Although at some point it has brought some changes. I come from Kisii County, whereby when I saw the use of funds, we were at 3 point around I don't know, 3 point something, very low, that we haven't used the money that we are given, the 13 billion that has been devolved. So what I see about the functions, the 2010 constitution has to be in a way be looked into and let everything be described in a way that we understand the roles of the national government and the county governments, especially issues on health. That one should have remained in the national government because the government pays well the doctors. We look at the promotions that we are having. The county of Kisii, we are having a problem whereby they want to strike. So the functions, much as they were devolved, they need to be looked into. Look at something like infrastructure, like maybe roads. I think these ones are the ones that could have even been devolved, because at the county level you can understand the roads that are there in that county, so that at least you can give a budget on which should be worked on, rather than in the national government. So devolution has brought changes for those working counties. Look at the county like Homa Bay, and you can attest, and everyone is praising Honorable Gladys Wanga for the work, the recommendable work she's doing, because she understands what is devolution and every role. Most of the governors, I don't think whether they understand what they are supposed to do. Yeah, they are more of politics and impeachments and everything, rather than working for the common mwananchi. where we need to ask ourselves, if Kisii County or other county gets a share of 13 billion, what exactly has 13 billion has done? Let us, devolution is about how many years? I think it's 10, around 12, if not 13 years older. Devolution has got from the national government. What has been put in place? Do they understand their roles, and has it worked? What exactly? I saw my county. Oh, I'm using Kisii County because I'm from Kisii County, and we have experienced what is ongoing. And we had a scenario whereby the governor returns back the money that is unused, and that's now since it has come on board.
Mr. Sam, you are having a problem with connection. But again, Honorable Vincent, I want to bring you on board, and I want to ask you one question here, because we know that this devolution has been distributed, because we know that every county now is responsible. So if there is any strike that is going to happen, then the problem will be the governor. Now they're going to blame the governor, because we now know that there is that disbursement of funds. Then after the governor, if the governor gets the complaint, then it directly is going to link to the main government. So do you think by this devolution that we were given back 10 years ago, that it will take time so that we can untap to this devolution, or it is only that our country is more corrupt, that we cannot pioneer our country well and move on?
I want to say something that Zalendo said. This thing is, we made a blunder, and only that Kenyans cannot admit. We devolve corruption, and the best thing we should be doing right now is dissolving counties and making them fewer, making them even 8 or 13 at most, so that even if you want to devolve the function that I've heard some say that, for example, the function of roads, we cannot risk those billions that go to roads to these corrupt governors that we have in Kenya. We cannot risk that amount to these uninformed. You know, if you can indulge me, maybe I can explain to you why I believe that the governors put to office very incompetent staff, especially the CECs and CEOs. We have a problem, for example, in counties like where I come from, the county of Kisii, where we have a speaker.
I want Mr. Vincent, I want you to hold on so that we can get a clip here. Then I'll come back to you.
County Assembly. The only way this government it's past glory. The chief officer must go.
Unajua wagonjwa wanaumia, lakini tutafenyeje kama serikali ndio inatulazimisha kwenda mgomo. Hapa tuko na madaktari kutoka the whole of Nyanza region. Watu wa Kisumu wako hapa, watu wa Migori wako hapa, watu wa Kisii, watu wa Nyamira, na wote wameona yale ambayo madaktari wa Kisii wanapitia na wamesema enough is enough. Tumesema kwa kimombo, what we are experiencing in Kisii County is impunity manifest, disregard of rule of law manifest, na wamekataa abadan katan kufuatilia ile tunaita CBA between us and the county governments. Kwa hivyo mgomo huu utaisha tu wakati serikali ya Kisii itasema wacha sasa tuwapromote, wacha tuwapeleke shule muhitimu ndo muhudumie wagonjwa vizuri, wacha tuwalipe on time, and most importantly iko kitu tunaita threats and victimization ambaye hatufurahii kabisa. Wacha madaktari wafanye kazi ya kuona wagonjwa, sio kazi ya siasa, sio kazi ya kuulizwa wewe uko pande gani ndio tuone tunakufanyia nini. Na kwa hivyo mgomo officially unaanza leo, na kamilisha bila kusema ile police brutality tuliona Nairobi against union leaders is taking us way back into the dark ages, even before tuone mwanzilishi wa hii nchi Jomo Kenyatta, is taking us way back when the white man used to hunt the black man. Hiyo pia hatunakataa na ina form basis of this strike. Kwa hivyo pia hii strike iishe, wale tunaita interns ambao wana run daily activities of the hospital must be posted.
Sisi hatuna lolote. County ifanye yenye inastahili kufanya, sisi tutafanya yetu. We have not closed window for negotiations. We gave 10 demands. Fanya hizo 10 demands, turudi saa hii kazi. Utaona tukirudi hapo tukiona wagonjwa we clear the right. But kama amufanye, muendelee kuvaa suti hapo ndani mkae tu. So what we are saying, no intimidation to union officials. Pay the 3 clinical officers, the almost like 11 healthcare workers who have not been paid now. Not only 3
for 24 months.
For 24 months. For heaven's sake, how do you ignore that? Hata ukwe nani? Ulipe mtoto wa mtu mshahara. Ameenda internship, amemaliza, amekuja hapa, anavaa nguo gani? You know, we are not human. It is inhuman completely. So let us reason and act with the human heart. You cannot transfer people left, right, center. Ati huyu ameongea, nimeongea leo, transfer tena kesho. What is the effect by the? So we cannot live an era of threats. We have a room for negotiations. We gave you. Even now we have a room. Hata tukimaliza kuandamana tutakuja, tutatoa hizi nguo tuvae zingine tuingie kuongea. We are ready for negotiations as long as our members benefit what we are agitating for.
Our Kisii County residents, I want to assure you that everything is normal in government and in our health facilities. Please don't shy away from bringing your patients to come and get their services from our health workers. Everything is good. Guys, the roadmap that we gave our health workers is very clear. We gave it with very clear timelines on the issues that they raised, and those issues, as agreed, will be addressed by the county government. That commitment was given by His Excellency himself. They will be addressed, and therefore I want to urge our health workers to remain calm and be assured that their grievances will be handled very expeditiously by the all arms of government in Kisii County.
Remain calm that all your grievances will be heard and they will be solved in Kisii County. That was happened today in Kisii County, that the workers were complaining. The workers were trying to push their grievances so that they can be heard well. And we know that when it comes to Kisii, Simba Arati is the governor of Kisii, and we know that he does not joke with his job. Then what happened? Then I want you to answer me, Honorable Vincent Machoka.
And he does not joke with the job he's doing. Is that who told you that? We have a serious joker in that position, and if you are a patient, let me ask you this question, and let me ask my colleague panelists. If you are a patient, who would you believe between the county CEC that has just spoken and the people who run the hospital, the doctors? Who will you believe when they tell you that don't be alarmed, just bring your patient to the hospital? If I were a patient, I will believe the doctor, because the doctor is the person who is going to take care of me. If the doctor is saying that I'm not going to work unless my needs are met, and then you hear a whole CEC making such kind of a remark that don't fear to bring your patient to the hospital, that's the level of incompetence that we have in our counties, and this does not apply to Kisii County only. I use Kisii County as an example because from the head to the bottom of our leadership, we have unqualified, and those people you heard the government flag the other day as the people who forge certificates to hold positions. We don't have competent leaders in those positions that you see in these counties. That's why I don't trust devolution with the count of the caliber of leaders that we have, because Simbarat will only appoint you if you are his sympathizer. Gladys Wanga will only appoint you if you are his worshiper. Sakaja will only appoint you if you are singing to his tune. So,
but Honorable Vincent, we heard even the president is congratulating the G7 during that conference that was happening in Omabe.
Yeah, that's a political congratulation. That's not an that's to just make the masses feel like the president is in support of this. But I can tell you for free, sometimes when he looks at how governors are running counties and our Urumia, the same way I am sympathizing with our people who woke up very early in the morning on the 9th of August to elect Simba Arati in Kisii County, and those who woke up very early in the morning to elect Sakaja in Nairobi. It would only to be the underperformers when the ratings are being given by the control of budgets. So what I was trying to say is that the strike you are seeing with the doctors started about a month ago here in Kisii, but the governor kept saying that it's Osoro who is hiring the doctors to organize the strike. It's Osoro who is inciting them to strike. I don't think Osoro has anything to do with the Kisii and the teaching and referral hospital, because Osoro himself is a member of parliament from South Mogrango, where there is only, I think, a few dispensaries and a level 4 hospital at Tago. Here in Kisii County, where we have the biggest, here in Kisii town, where we have the biggest hospital, I think the governor should take up the role and try to develop the county hospital, or the level 6 hospital, which I know has a few. I can say it's half national government and half county, but the salaries are paid by the county and the contracts are being given by the county, but the hospital functions, most of the functions are being run by the national government. So I disagree, and I want to say that the devolution has not really worked the way we anticipated it to work, but it has instead created cartels. It has created corrupt individuals who are investing in other counties. We have created a caliber of leaders that group themselves with their cartels so that they form government in our counties and prepare to steal money for 10 years. That's the thing that has happened in Luo Nyanza for the past 10 years. The governors have been siphoning money from the counties, but because they have the protection of the right honorable prime minister, they went and charged. That's one thing we've seen in Siaya, for example, the county that Raila Odinga comes from. We expect to see, and you will hold me for this. Eldoret, which is the home county of the sitting president, is going to be magical in the next 10 years, because the president is determined to change the city of Eldoret and make it better than even these cities that we have in Kenya, even in Nairobi. It's going to be one of the biggest cities because he believes in developing his home. He believes in helping his people first. Ile kitu unasikianga wakisema charity must begin at home always. So I think devolution, especially in Kisii and Nyanza at large, is where we should have EACC and these bodies that investigate base their camps. Because if you can see the strike, for example, you just posted here, the strike is in Kisii County, and we've been saying about Kisii County all over and again, now and again. There's a problem that is in Kisii County, and the problem isn't the doctors. The problem isn't the people. The problem is the incompetency of the governor, because he surrounded himself with people who does not understand the job they were given. He has surrounded himself with advisors who mislead him, because the same thing Sam just said before I jumped in. Sam said something that uh, the money is being refunded back to the national government. What sort of governor is that who allows 1.8 billion shillings to be reverted back to national government when we have impassable roads in Kisii, when the doctors are on strike, when we have a very, very poor state dispensaries in our county, when we have the ECD classes missing, and 1.8 billion is going back to the national government. And here some people are saying that we should add more roles, we should devolve more functions from the national government to the county government. I will advise the president not to risk that, and unless he wants to create a few billionaires the same way Kibaki did. Unajua Kibaki created a very few billionaires, but as the money managed to reach the basement. So unless the president wants to create a few billionaires in the offices of governor, who after 10 years will go to the same way we saw Joe in the US posting with this musician Jason Derulo. If we want to create such kind of people, then Kenya is meant to fail, and is a sinking ship that we are experiencing at this moment.
Thank you so much, Vincent, for this wonderful submission. And as you know that the devolution, when it comes to the counties, then the governor is the person who is responsible for controlling, because he has the steering, he has the powers to control every sector when it comes to county government. So here we will always blame any governor who is trying to make everything become difficult when it comes to the citizens. So in every county where we have those loops, then definitely we're going to risk. So, Mr. Sam, as you conclude this one, do you think there is a problem in these county governments, and how long will us take it so that we can perform well? Because as we know, every county now has the governor. We have the G7, and we have other counties that are headed by men. G7 now here is whereby we have the Gladys Wanga, we have the Susan Kihika, and we also have the other governors whereby they are women. So do you think these governors will perform to their best and bring Kenya to attaining the Vision 2030, or still will be stagnant?
So as I thank you for the good question, Mr. Bonnie, and I think there was something they devolved a constitution, that there was something that they saw, but it's not happening. It hasn't reflected at all. As I said, we are in around 13 years old as for the devolution, and it has worked in some counties, and it hasn't worked in other counties. Look at the last regime. There are those ratings that they tell us about this county. We used to see Machakos stopping, Kakamega was there. And the question that we should ask ourselves, what are the parameters that they use to rate these counties? Have they understood their roles, and which roles have they played? Like now, one of the roles I can just talk about the county government is about the ECD classes. I come from a county, and we are using Kisii County because that's where we are. We can't use other counties which we don't know what is happening there. I come from Kisii County, whereby they are talking about the ECD teachers. It's one of the functions of the county government. The ECD classes are not there. At the 21st century, still kids learning maybe in a very poor conditioned classroom. Let me call it a shade. And you wonder whether that was the evolution that we dreamt of. And again, the G7 that you're talking about, these are the women who came together, the elected governors. We are seeing the Kirinyaga governor, she's outgoing. No, amemaliza term zake mbili. She's going. So what has she done for Kirinyaga? Then we have those one-term governors who have come just the recent concluded elections. We have Fatuma Achani of Kwale. We have Gladys Wanga of Homa Bay. We have Cecily Mbarile of Cecily Mbarile is from Embu. We have Kihika
Kawira
of
Mwangaza.
Nakuru. We have Kawira Mwangaza of Meru, and then we have Wavinya Ndeti of Machakos.
Yeah.
When, okay, I don't understand the parameters they use to rate those governors. I don't think whether they do, when they do these surveys, I think maybe questioning people on what the governor has done. I think majority of the people just talk about, maybe it is their political supporters who even say like she has done something, and yet there's nothing has been done on board. Do the people who answer those questions like the governor has done something, do they understand the really role of a governor and what has he done or has she done in that role? So we have to ask ourselves, indeed, if we all understand the functions of a governor and how have they been done. I said, for me, if I was the president of Kenya today, I like the way Mzalendo talked, if I was the president of this republic, we could initiate a rule when we are going to elections, let us have managers, people, technocrats, people who have managed, people who understand about management to be the ones. Let it be, something that you have to be a technocrat, you have to be a manager so that you can vie for these gubernatorial seats. Because we are having more politicians who want to protect their political interest instead of working, they're protecting their political interest. Look at Nairobi, the other time when we had Sonko, it's more of a politician. Look at Kiambu, we had Ferdinand who could not even understand the clear role of what is entailed in the governorship. So we have to, I think if I was the president, you could have one of the best governors in Kenya, because you have to be elected according to the competence that you have, unlike managing, just there, being there to manage politics. Look at what's happening in Kisii County. Here and there we have Osoro and Arati just fighting here instead of taking care of those even the medical practitioners in our county.
Let me assist my brother Sam. You know, we are the people and we are the sovereign. The president has no power to just say that we want to elect someone who is technocrat. We want to put someone in power who has the specific qualification. You all know that conversation will only end in futility, because whenever we Kenyans get close to elections, we almost lose our minds completely. We forget that we are supposed to look at a leader. We are not supposed to look at the money that someone has. That's one thing that we must put at the back of our minds before we start talking about who is going to be elected where and who. There are people who are not technocrats, but they are performing so well, and I believe it's not about the technocrat. It's about if you really know why you are elected. That's one thing we must do as a country. First of all, let's listen to a leader. Let's know if this leader is capable of doing something. Can this leader even construct a speech that when the investors are here, he can tell them something, or she can tell them something, and the investors will agree or will reason together with him. The example that Sam has given, the incompetence of our governors, especially the governor of Kisii, is one that will be studied. I think the generations to come will have to study the incompetency of our governor, because
This guy has never even sat down the investors. We've never had a clip of him. The last clip I saw, he was sweating at the Senate Public Accounts Committee. He was sweating, and one of the senators had to tell him to take a break. That's the kind of governance we are electing in a country. But we can see some MPs who are elected with less qualifications, but they are performing excellently. I don't want to say that Peter Salasia is incompetent, but Peter Salasia is one leader that is really, really doing a lot of things at the grassroots. And he's one guy I admire, even if he makes a lot of mistakes that I usually call maybe that's his way of doing politics, but he's doing a very good job compared to most of our governors. Even there's a guy here who mentioned about Kakamega and Machakos. Kakamega County right now is not where it was when Oparanya was governor. So peer transition is something we must look at. Transition from one governor to another must be conventional. Let's know, yeah, if you are having a competent leader now, that's the same thing that happened to Kenya when Kibaki exited office. When Kibaki was exiting office, he left behind a very, very solid economy. But the moment we had Uhuru managing the economy, we had a lot of problems. We've had an economy almost collapsing. And right now we're having another leader who is trying to resuscitate the economy. And then the next election after Ruto is a retirement, we're going to have another incompetent leader who will again destroy our economy. So we are inconsistent as Kenyans because we have not mastered the art of investigating our politicians. We have not mastered the art of knowing what leader should we put at a certain position at a certain time. For example, this seat that we joke, there's a seat that Kenyans joke about that is very, very crucial, and that's why we have a problem. We are joking about the seat of member of county assembly, and I want to tell Kenyans who are listening to us right now that the seat of MCA is a very, very crucial seat to our devolution. And the moment Kenyans wake up and realize that this seat should belong to competent people only, that's when we will strengthen devolution. But as long as we are having these quacks, let me call them quacks, and people who are popular in a village getting elected, the MCAs, as long as you are popular in a certain village, those people in your village will come together and look for support from another village, and you get elected. They don't even care if you even went to school, as long as as long as you can speak Kikisi or you can speak your mother's language. I think that also goes a long way to show that we have an incompetent IEBC, because IEBC's mandate, together with EACC, is to investigate the academic qualifications of our leaders. Right now, I can tell you 90% of the MCAs elected in Kenya are have forged the certificates. Most of them didn't even go to school. You see, so it's time we start talking about competency in leadership, so that we solve these problems once and for all. In fact, the same way Sama said that Homa Bay has a very good governor. The former governor of Siaya, the end of Homa Bay, Gronera Rasanga, I think is Rasanga. That guy
No,
almost ruined.
It was this guy we call Awiti.
Awiti, yes, Awiti. Awiti looted the county dry, and even the EACC has a case for him that is ongoing. So, if we are to elect somebody like Gladys Wanga, we should plan again to elect someone who is even better than Gladys Wanga the next time.
Exactly.
Because in Kisii, for example, we had an incompetent governor for the past 10 years, but was better than the current governor, because now we went from worse to worst. We didn't go even a notch. We went from worse to worst. And that thing should be taken to record, that Kisii is going to be the worst county after 10 years of Simba Arati's tenure. For now, let's give him time. Let's hope that he will use magic to turn things around. Let's hope that he will bring serious people on board to advise him. And I offer myself to give him a free counsel to guide him wherever he needs my counsel, because I believe I'm even better and competent than him.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent, for that wonderful submission. And we know that it is a matter of time. But again, as we consider time, then the governors are doing their work. And again, Mr. Vincent is saying that we need to do a lot of scrutiny when it comes to electing these leaders, because a lot of leaders have been forging papers. But again, nowadays, they say that it is not a must for you to just have papers, but what they focus on is the skills. We are changing from analog to digital, but again, they are now saying what you can offer is very important. Goodyear is saying the governors have to be trusted and honest officials who look after their counties. Of course, the governors have the mandate. They have all the power so that they can make sure the county government moves on smoothly, because if there is a problem, then definitely they are going to be blamed. And again, as we always pioneer, we have been having a good show. So I want to ask Sam Mienda so that he can give us the last comment, because we are trying to terminate the show for today, because we have had 2 hours and 44 minutes. So we need to have some closing remarks, Mr. Sam Mienda, for our today's show. What can you say about today?
So there's something you talked about, the issue of we don't need papers or whatever. I want to tell you one of the things. Maybe you are elected as a member of parliament. You have roles that you have to do as a member of parliament. There's legislation, there's representation. So, and we have the 2 languages that you have to. So it means if you haven't gone to school, my friend, you cannot legislate. Yeah, legislate and maybe debate. So education also is very good. I can take an example of we have one of the most funny, let me call him funny or a joker in Kisii County, an MCA called Morefu, who was in fact a very sensitive word in our constituency. It is even the epitome of every revenue. Tell that education indeed is good. Even if it's not, even if a diploma or a certificate, at least you have those skills, you can be able to communicate with people. So my last thing I could have said, I really enjoyed this. Is my first time in this panel, and I want to thank Honorable Vincent for inviting me. And we have articulated issues, and we have talked about matters, politics, the AU, and everything. So the thing is, we need to look on our way as young people. There's a point I like Vincent said, that we need to see new faces. We need to see Vincent Machoka. We need to see Boniface. We need to see Sam on board. At least their names you have heard since I have been born. I think mimi si mkubwa vile, but I've been hearing of Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, Odinga. We have had a lot of people who are still in existing since I was even in my mother's home. So as young people, we should also look at the way we can come on board and take even this leadership come the other year coming, maybe 2027. So I want to thank you for today, and thank you, Vincent, for inviting me in this show. I hope to be there always.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mr. Sam Mienda, for always taking part in this wonderful conversation. And this is Afrique Eco TV, whereby we always engage our listeners and our followers wherever they are watching, because it is here whereby you are going to get entertained, and you're going to get the best ideas when it comes to the government and also political matters. I was having Honorable Vincent, and before I terminate this show, I want to play a certain clip here so that Honorable Vincent, you can digest this one, and our followers, they can digest it, because I have come across this clip, and I think it is very important because it is coming from one of the best senators when it comes to this country.
I want us to listen
Just a
to
little.
what the Deputy President said on this particular question, because yes, the members of Parliament have expressed themselves. The Member of Parliament for Kandara saying that that will not be allowed to happen. They, in fact, mobilized and witnessed the KRA officials being chased away from the podium. The farmers have expressed themselves that they do not want taxation of their produce. This is what the Deputy President says.
Hii maneno ya kodi imeletwa pale, iko sheria iliudwa pale bunge, tumeona iko na dosari kiasi ya kutaka wakulima ya makadamia nini waanze kutoswa. Hiyo maneno tutaketi chini, tumeongea na rais jana na waziri wa hazina, tutatafuta suluhisho, tutaongea na hao bunge wetu, kwa sababu hatuwezi kusaidia mkulima na mkono moja tumuumize na ile mkono mwingine, si ndio?
They will look for a solution. That's what the Deputy President is promising. Senator Nyonka, tell me, what is your understanding of what is going on from the Finance Act to the concerns by the members of Parliament of Kandara and Gatanga, but also what KRA is saying about e-teams and that it has to apply to every other business, including the small ones?
Good morning, Sami.
Good morning.
How I wish my colleagues had read that bill when it was brought to the House. Some of us tried to explain to them that you can tax so much out of something. I have listened to the answer that my brother Daktari has given about something about taxes being taxed. I don't know what something. The truth is, there are policies that have succeeded in various countries in revenue collection, in extending the revenue base, in making sure that the taxes that are there are not punitive, that the taxes are not, there's no double taxation on anything. What is actually happening right now in our country is that if you were to ask somebody to do an audit of the amount of taxes that are being generated from products within the country, those whether they're imported or manufactured, or whether it's agricultural products, whether it is agricultural goods and services, everything is just been overtaxed. Everything. So where we are, a clever government will then deliberately now begin to look at, and that is the little sympathy I have for DP Gachagua, that he's realized the ground is vitu kwa ground itafauti boss. Hapa nje. Hawa jamaa hakuna kitu watasema. Imagine in Central, members who are screaming and telling us how the bill is good and in fact Kenyans must pay taxes. You cannot do anything without increasing taxes. All that nonsense that was being spewed here on TV. What is happening now? Now the same guys are going to the ground and chickening and saying, we don't pay that, don't pay the tax. I mean, what
do you think is the right thing to do? Because, Senator, in this country, there are people that pay taxes, there are those that do not. Yes. And it doesn't mean that they are not generating revenue. In fact, in some sectors, in some areas, farming is actually generating some profits. What should happen if everyone is to have a responsibility in building the nation?
The question you're asking is really wonderful. I wish you were asking him.
No.
What is the government policy on taxation in agriculture? Sam, is there anybody in this country who knows what we get taxed? Do we tax inputs? Do we tax outputs? This guy is talking about, the thing is, in fact, now farmers don't even have a place where to go and store just wait. They go and store the goods which have been removed, which have been harvested. Or there's this thing. Soon you'll hear them say the challenges we are having is post-harvest challenges. God damn it! Go and fix the National Cereals and Produce Board, and everybody will store their maize there. What are they doing? The Cereals and Produce Board has just become a trading enterprise. People are taking maize there. When they get a deal, who's buying maize at the highest? The maize is taken out there. They go and give it to the miller. What is the government policy on agriculture as a whole today, if I ask you?
Zero.
I know my leader, Honorable Nani, the minister, is trying to do firefighting. I live in Kitale.
Which minister?
Rinturi. He's doing a few things which are wonderful. I mean, like you can see, he has got an app where you can read and check out which seeds, which type of crops you can grow in a certain area. What is the fertilizers, which are the fertilizers they can use in those areas. There are certain small things which are doing. But the truth is today, if you ask this gentleman, who is actually an expert in agriculture, what is the government policy on what we are doing in agriculture right now? Guys are just making deals, Guys are selling fertilizer. Guys are buying seeds. These people.
He's buying seeds. Okay, fine.
I really don't have. I don't know what to say. What do you say now?
All right, Senator Nyoka.
Mr. Vincent, the Honorable, you have seen what is the Senator Onyoka is saying. He's saying these guys are making deals. And again, President William Ruto said that they are ready to pioneer the country. So here is trying to act contrary to what President William Ruto said. What is your take on that as we finalize?
No, let me tell you something. Onyonka is a very, very, let me call him a person who is a lot of himself. Allow me use that word. Whenever he's speaking, he usually speaks passionately about what he thinks is the right thing. But behind the doors, Nyonka knows that there are things that can't be done in one go. We can't sort all the problems once. And I told you here last time that President Ruto is trying to balance the economy in both ends. He's trying to look at every sector in an angle that let's solve what is very urgent as we keep digging into the bigger and bigger problems. So if you are to uproot cartels from the agriculture sector, you will not just uproot the cartels and leave the farmers without fertilizer, without the seeds, without the policies that will keep the agriculture going. First of all, you must keep the agriculture going as you try to manage the policies. So I think, of course, I might agree with Onyonka that there is no government policy on agriculture that is giving directions on how how we manage our post-harvest harvest and pre-harvest. That is one thing that I think the president is about to roll out in the whole agriculture sector, and we've been talking about evolution, and agriculture is a devolved function. When you devolve a function like agriculture, you limit the chance, the opportunity for the government to form a bill that will be effected at a go, because once the bill is passed at the National Assembly, it has to be passed also in the counties. And majority of the counties have MCAs who rely on what the governor wants. And if the governor says that we don't want this bill to pass, the bill will fall. So I think this problem that Onyonka has highlighted here is a problem that can be sorted with ease. But can we all agree that there's a change in agriculture compared to the previous administration? Yes, there's a change. And as the agriculture in Kenya improved in terms of production, in terms of accountability, in terms of creativity, in terms of education and civil education that trains farmers in the grassroots what crops to grow at a certain point, what type of fertilizer to put to certain crops at a certain point. We can all agree that the farmers have been motivated to go back to farming. Most of the people have decided to quit farming, and some of them who are selling their pieces of land so that they can open businesses. People had already shifted their minds that maybe money is in business, money is not in farming. But William Ruto has given these people hope that if you follow the guidelines from the Ministry of Agriculture, if you do your research well, if you plant the correct crops, you are going to get a very, very big return at the end of the farming period. So I think the farmers have the chance to make things better, and they should be at the forefront to discuss the government policy on agriculture. As Onyonka said, we must allow the farmers to be at the forefront so that they air their views on what they think should be done in this sector. And maybe to say something on what Rigathi Gachagua said, I told you here in this platform yesterday, and for those viewers who are following us yesterday, I told you I was very, very ashamed to hear the deputy president admit that there was a disparity in the finance bill 2023. And I told you that that goes a long way to show that the only people who managed to read the finance bill are maybe the chairman of departments that are capable of making those finance bill regulations. The deputy president might not even had a chance to read the bill because he relied on what he heard from maybe his advisors on those critical things. But I can tell you that we have one president who, if the minister is not working, the president can work for you. We've seen scenarios where the president is saying that if you don't know your job, I don't know what you're doing. If as a president I can know more than what you know in your ministry, it means that you are very incompetent. So the president understood the finance bill even more than what the media understood. That's why immediately when the finance bill story began, he called for the the interview at State House that we saw last year in May, I think. During that interview, you never saw the president with a paper or a pen on his hands. The president was answering the questions from the head because he understood what was in the finance bill. He knew that in this finance bill, I am the I am the leader. I must understand every bit, every full stop in this finance bill. That's why I am very, very ashamed that the deputy president for speaking before the very, very people that they told last year to believe in the finance bill, saying that we made a mistake in this finance bill. And I want to tell the Kenyans who are listening to us right now that that kind of incompetency is the reason why I believe that there are people in Ruto's government who are holding very senior positions who are busy sabotaging his agenda. And that's one thing that the deputy president is doing, because he's now going to the Mount Kenya people trying to seek for that sympathy from the people that we I was blindfolded to also support this thing blindly. That's the message he's passing to the people, and that's very wrong for a person holding the seat of a deputy president. So one thing I want to say that what Onyonka has said and has articulated very clearly is that let the farmers be given a chance and be heard as the government is planning to form a policy on the whole agricultural sector. For now, let's keep using the subsidized fertilizer. Let's keep going to the farms. Let's produce our own food. Let's have food security in our families, because the moment my family has enough food, my neighbor will also have enough food, and the other neighbor will have enough food. That's how you start developing the food security that William Ruto has been championing. And he said here the other day that in 5 years we must stop importing basic food commodities from outside as a country. So right now I believe that going forward, the farmers should be empowered even more than these border borders who we keep contributing to every time and again. These chamas that we keep contributing, the farmers should be the ones who are being supported by the government to produce more so that we can have food security in the country, because you all understand that a hungry nation is a hungry nation, and we must feed our people, and the only way to feed our people is by going to the farm. There's no magic that can feed our people. So I think the deputy president should apologize to the people for misleading the public that there was a disparity in the finance bill 2023. That's very wrong, and those are not remarks that are supposed to come from the mouth of even a member of parliament who voted yes in parliament for the bill. They should even be ashamed, and as a people, we should send such kind of people home. Even the deputy president should be shamed publicly.
Oh, okay, that is wonderful, Honorable Vincent, and I believe that we all know that when it comes to food production, and we know that farming, agriculture is one of the key areas that we need to focus on, because if we produce our own food, then directly we are going to cut poverty. And we know that human beings mostly consume. You know that the country mostly, we have the common mwananchi who always consumes the food from the farmers, and again we know that we consume a lot of food from our own. So we know last year, but one, there was an hype for food, whereby the basic food, the unga price ilikuwa imepanda juu kabisa, watu walikuwa na complain sana. So hiyo ndio William Ruto anajaribu kufanya ndio mambo ikuwe ni mzuri kwa watu, na mambo ikuwe kama wanapata chakula kutoka kwa shamba zao, then definitely mambo haitakuwa ngumu sana. That's why they are trying to lower, they are trying to give subsidy when it comes to fertilizers and other areas where farming is entailed. And again, the CS for agriculture is doing a wonderful job, as we heard Senator Onyoka saying. He's trying, because we can nowadays confirm a lot of things when it comes to agriculture in mobile apps. And well, this is an improved technology. We need to capture with it, because this is the country and this is the era we are living. Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent. And as we come to the end, I want to bring on board Mzalendo so that he can say final words, because no, I want to ask Vincent to give his final comments when it comes to this show. We have had a 3-hour show that we have discussed a lot of things. Whoever has been following, I am sure that he or she has learned a lot of things. Whoever, wherever you are. Honorable Vincent, final shots.
Thank you, and let me take this opportunity to thank those followers who are consistently commenting on this show, who are consistently sharing and watching us from all platforms, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. I wish to thank all of you for tuning in to Africa 24, and we will. We are trying to keep you informed in matters that you are happening day in, day out. I wish to also thank you for giving us ideas and asking us questions through the comments, and we hope that we have tried to answer as we can as we managed to do. And I hope that going forward we are going to get more people in the platform to try and help you understand and try to break down these issues that we're talking about. I want to finalize my remarks by saying that we have a lot of things that are going on in this country, and our duty as the Africa 24 is to inform you and give you the facts that you miss in our national and our local TV stations. So please, I urge you to ask our your friends to subscribe, to like and share, and keep this Africa spirit going on. I wish to end my remarks at that, because I've really said a lot, even if my mind was a little distracted today. And I wish to ask Mzalendo next time to join us early, so that we can have a different sides, because I realized today we almost sided together, and I always want someone to dispute with me so that I can also raise my voice a bit. Thank you, and have a good night for those who are in Kenya, and for those who are in Mayolo. I wish you a very good afternoon and evening.
Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent, for this wonderful conversation, wonderful ideas you have shared with us. I want to bring on board Mzalendo. Mzalendo, good morning from Nairobi, Kenya. And what is your comment about?
Good evening. Good evening from Virginia. And thank you once again. I love listening to young people towards the growth of our country. This is a unique forum where we have young people really coming out and talking about their country. People like Vincent, people like Boniface, and the gentleman who was here earlier. It's important that you are creating a unique euphoria, a youth movement that will be engaged in politics. That is so important for our country, because young people have been associated to other things like betting, things like that, things that don't really matter at times, but matter to them. They are not interested in politics. Just to dive into the last clip that you showed, and I saw Mheshimiwa Honorable Onyonka. I think he's been in parliament for the longest time. He has been in and out in parliament for the longest time. I wanted to gauge what he has achieved in parliament as a legislator during his time in parliament, what bills that he came up with that improved the life of his constituents. That is so important when you see these MPs talking. You need to gauge what they are saying, or are they making populist statements? Like the statement he made is like somebody who has not read the Constitution. There is an act, the agriculture is, there's an act in the Kenyan Constitution that talks explicitly about agriculture, the roles of the national government in providing a good atmosphere for our farmers and ensuring food security in our country. And he asked a very silly question. Sometimes when somebody talks a lot of English, read their statement, what they're trying to say, and analyze that this guy is actually talking a lot of nothing. So there is a policy in government, and if you read the Constitution, there is a policy in agriculture. Even if his government or the Azimio government came to power, that is what they will follow because it is the Constitution. There are also other functions in agriculture that have been devolved to the county government. Yeah, so it is not entirely that agriculture depends on the national government. There are some functions that have been devolved to the county governments, who are basically, as we said, doing a lot of nothing with the money that they have been given. A lot of duplication in the county. That is why each and every county in the Republic of Kenya, we have a minister for agriculture at the county level. At the county level, if you are coming from Nyamira and Kisii or Homa Bay, ask your minister for agriculture what they are doing. What I want to comment lastly is the speech by the deputy president. The deputy president seems to be the president of Central Kenya. So having been elected the deputy president of Central Province, is busy articulating the issues of Central Kenya, and I think and not looking at himself as a deputy, as an institution. Yeah, that is so is undoing. I don't think this man is fit to be the next president of the Republic of Kenya. He's not fit at all, at all. This is somebody who is trying to ensure that we remain a tribal country, and we vote on tribal lines. So he's all the time consolidating his vote in Central Province and ensuring that they have the bargaining power at the national level. When he's talking about macadamia, he is and is telling the president, "My people in Central." That is so. I don't know what statement that is for a deputy president. When he says "my people in Central," and he's forgetting that he was elected as a deputy president. He should be talking about the avocado farmers in Kisii, the banana farmers in Kisii. They also need a tax reprieve. They should talk about the fish farmers in where I come from, Lake Victoria. What kind of tax incentives are we getting from the deputy when he holds the mic and only talks about central Kenya? Kenya is not central province, Mr. Deputy President. It is high time. It is high time you respect that office. Otherwise, in 2027, you are going to be a big factor in the re-election of William. People will say they are not going to elect William Ruto as president if you are the deputy. So that is the big question that president, if you're listening to this particular show, you should ask your deputy president either to style up or to ship out. So yeah, we people who support UDA, sometimes we find it we labor too hard for you to be associated with somebody like Gachagua, somebody who is propagating tribal politics. You want as a national leader, but yet your deputy is a tribal leader. Yes, Kenya is tribal, but Ruto is trying to unite this country into one direction. So let us all think in a manner that is important for this country so that we grow as people of Kenya, not the Kikuyu community, Kalenjin community, and the Luo or the Kamba community. Let us be united and foster ahead for the development of the Republic of Kenya. Thank you, Boniface, very much for this particular show.
Thank you so much, Mzalendo, and that was wonderful. And of course, I think Kenyans who are watching and everyone who is watching this show has gotten what it entails. And again, that if Deputy Rigathi Gachagua will be there come 2027, then it will be an effect to William Samoei Ruto because of the comments that he always makes. Good year. Thank you so much. You have been our loyal follower, but she's saying DP Gachagua is a bit reckless, and I think that is why he is frozen out. That is a comment from one of us, and I think Deputy Gachagua is sensing danger. He's sensing some changes come 2027, and that's why things might change. And we always have the U-turn, even when you are approaching a roundabout. You can always make a U-turn somewhere, and I think there is a U-turn that will come in 2027. Thank you so much for whoever has been watching this show, and we thank you so much for giving us this opportunity. Those who have accompanied us here, good year, Ramis Yegon has been here, and Ojwang has been here. We always say,
Excuse me. Vincent wants to say something.
Yes, I told you that Rigathi is chasing his own shadow. He should stop fearing that there is a competitor that is about to be born somewhere to compete with him in 2032. So all these things that we are saying that Rigathi is fearing something. Rigathi is just busy trying to be a kingpin. He's not focused on the presidency of this country. He just want to be a kingpin. I think that's all he's working seriously on. Because personally, I have not seen him in Kisii. I have not seen him in Nyamira. I have not seen him in Homa Bay. I only see him in Nyandarua today, tomorrow in Kiambu, tomorrow in what? I don't think Rigathi is interested in making himself a leader. He's interested in making himself a kingpin of the Mount Kenya, and I'm sure that is going to fail as far as I'm concerned because that's not the role he was elected. There's a difference between what William Ruto did as a deputy and what Rigathi is doing as a deputy. Rigathi Gachagua is speaking a lot of Kikuyu when he is in Mount Kenya, but you can count a few times that Ruto went to the Rift Valley when he was deputy president. I'm sure even the Rift Valley people used to see him during the December holidays when he was going to Sugoi to be with his family and his villagers. Rigathi Gachagua is at home from Monday to Sunday. He is even missing important government functions He's even missing in action already. He's starting to miss in action. He's starting to campaign his 2032 bid when he is not even sure that he's going to be the deputy president in 2027. He should stop chasing the shadow that he's chasing, and he should stop chasing his own tail. There's nobody who is fighting Rigathi. Rigathi should stop fighting his own tail. He should focus on the seat we bestowed on him going forward. And I submit.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent. And this is wonderful. You have given us what it entails. And this is a wonderful conversation. Tomorrow we are going to face on it again, because we know that it is big conversation, and it's going to give us ideas, and we're going to share a lot when it comes to our break to 4. And tonight, as we terminate, it has been wonderful. Thank you so much, Honorable Vincent. This is wonderful. We have had a good time, quality time indeed, and we have enjoyed this show. And I'm very sure whoever was streaming this, either in Facebook, Twitter, IG, or in our social media platforms, that is Facebook, YouTube, he or she has gotten a lot of ideas. And we thank you so much for always tuning and trusting this brand, Afrique 2.4. I was your host today, Boniface Kimanzi, and I want to salute everyone who was here today. Honorable Vincent, thank you so much. Mzalendo, thank you so much. Good year, thank you so much. You have been so wonderful during our tonight show. Thank you so much, and we meet here same time tomorrow. That is 10 p.m. East African time.